So now we're going to have a look at creating an 808 style kick drum. I'll let you hear what we're working on here. And here's the kick soloed. So it's a nice big analog style kick. It's actually being generated within Massive, tiny bit of external processing happening on it, but not much. So let's have a look at how it's made. So to build our 808 kick, we're actually going to use an instance of Native Instruments Massive. And because we're going to be working with a self-oscillating filter, we're going to be able to shut all of these oscillators down right at the start. So Massive's filter section actually does not technically self-oscillate. It requires an impulse to start the filter self-oscillating. And to create that impulse, we're going to use the noise generator here. So I'm just going to apply envelope 2 to the noise generator. Let's give it a tiny little amount from the envelope here. I'm going to drop the decay all the way down. So what we should hear now is just a very quick little noise burst. I'll bring the color up as well. And this noise signal is going to pass into the filter, and once it actually gives the filter something to work with, it will allow us to have an approximation of self-oscillation. It's not exactly self-oscillation, but it's very, very close. So to do this, we're going to choose the Daft filter. And I'm going to open it up all the way so that you can hear the filtered noise. And I'm going to close it now and bring the resonance up. Now I'm just going to pop this all the way over to filter 1 here. That way that's all we're hearing. And as I raise the cutoff back up here, you're going to start hearing a bit of a squeal or a scream. Now I'm going to bring the volume of this filter up a little bit, bring the master up a little, and now we can start actually looking at creating our kick. So 808 style kicks are really all about envelope control over a couple different things, the amp stage and the cutoff of a self-oscillating filter. And I'm going to use envelope 3 here, which is a freed up envelope at the moment. We don't have anything happening with it. And I'm going to apply a little bit of envelope 3 to the filter cutoff. And we're going to start playing around with some settings here. So I've got a very simple pattern here, and I'm going to use that to trigger Massive so that we can hear what we're listening to as we adjust the envelope here. So I'm just going to start this playing, and then I'm going to start tweaking a couple settings. So you can hear the kick starting to form right there. It's got a nice subby sound. I'm also going to add a little bit of release to our amp stage envelope here. Pull the attack in, and I'm going to bring the decay stage up a little bit, so that should sound a little bit bigger. And let's add a little bit more from envelope 3 here. And I'll pull the decay in. So now we've got a nice snappy envelope there. So we have no input from the oscillator section. This is all happening within the filter section itself. And we're getting a very nice output. It's got very smooth characteristics, very similar to an 808 style kick. And obviously, the longer we draw out the release stages and decay stages, the boomier and longer the kick will sound. And if we tighten them up and make them shorter, the kick itself will sound shorter. So it's now going to be time for us to bring in our little 808 percussion loop here. And let's have a listen to these two things in conjunction. Okay, so that's sounding great right out the gate. One thing I do want to do is I want to add a little bit more aggression to the front end of this kick. And so to do that, I'm actually going to add a sine shaper in insert 1 here. I'm going to go and make sure that it's on the output of filter 1 in my routing section. And then I'm going to add the same envelope as we are using to control filter cutoff, envelope 3, to the wet dry of the insert section here, and also to the drive section. And so this is going to allow envelope 3 to control not just the filter cutoff, but also a little bit of snap that's going to be caused by this sine shaper here, which is just going to affect the front end of this kick. So let's have a quick listen and we'll adjust some things. And we'll just listen to the solo again. That's got a great sound. So next we're going to look to tame this a little bit. We're going to bring in a compressor and we're going to bring in an EQ8. The EQ8 is just going to, again, shave out some of the extreme lows here. We're going to go for about 60 hertz and below, just to get rid of some of the sub. Let's just have a quick listen. Okay. And the compressor we're just going to use to tame the signal a little bit and also to draw out a little bit of the boom. So we're going to use a relatively tough ratio here. We're going to use a short release. We're going to use RMS. And let's have a listen and we'll drop the threshold. And now let's listen to these two in conjunction again. So now let's have a quick listen to everything in conjunction here. So that sounded great. Kick drums are very easy to make using analog style synths and self-oscillating filters. And there's a huge variety of noises that you can actually create using the same style of setup as we've used for our 808 kick here. 909 style kicks tend to be slightly more aggressive, and so if we wanted to do something that emulated that, we'd probably shorten up the decay time like this, add a little bit more of the envelope going to filter cutoff, and that's a good starting point there. Let's have a quick listen. So as we tighten that envelope up, we start getting a snappier kick. And of course, we can actually use our second filter here. I'm just going to pop the noise over to filter 1 only. I'm going to put the filters into series. I'm going to add a little bit of the mix from filter 2 here, and I'm going to flip filter 2 into a high pass. And this will allow us to add a little bit of click in the top end here. So there's filter 2's output alone. And what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to add a little bit of distortion to filter 2's output. And that just gives us a nice clicky top end here. So let's just put this back into the mix and we'll have a listen to it alongside everything else. Sounding great. So that's how we can use Massive's daft filter and a tiny little impulse of white noise to cause the filter to essentially self-oscillate. And with some tight envelope control over the filter cutoff and some envelope control over the amp stage, along with some interesting routings and a little bit of distortion, we can create a very good knockoff of an 808 kick. By tightening that envelope up, we can get a little bit more of a 909 style kick, a little bit snappier, punchier, etc. And that is a great use of a self-oscillating filter. So there's no reason to look elsewhere for big booming analog style kicks. They're extremely easy to make. And this gives you the ability to create custom kicks for your tracks, which is extremely useful. It means you don't have to rely on typical kick drums or things you've heard before, or perhaps oversampled kick drums that have been recycled through sample packs numerous times. This is a very, very good way and very effective way of creating customized drum sounds.